Good morning, everybody. Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts here. Thank you for joining me for what is supposed to be Craft with Me Friday, but of course it's Saturday. Had to do a little bit of a pivot. I'm just gonna hop over to my YouTube channel real quick, make sure that this is live like it's supposed to be. Looks like it. It's good. I really don't want to test. I'm always hesitant to not test the audio, but then if I test the audio, I'm going to have to unmute a mic and there's going to be feedback. So I'm just going to go with the belief that the audio is working fine, and if you can't hear me, just comment, send me a note, and I will try to watch for that. So I'm very excited about today. I'm a little, as always, really disorganized. One of these days, I told my husband this morning, one of these days I'm going to be ready for a live well in advance of the live. I'm not sure when that day is going to be, but one of these days it's going to happen. So we are continuing with how to use chalk couture products to make cards. We did a little bit of that, I think it was last week, with the ink on the chalk suede paper and the glitter and the glitter glue on the chalk suede paper. The other technique that I wanted to do that I couldn't because I didn't have everything was using deco foil. So we're going to do that today. And then we're also going to do more of something I did a couple of weeks ago, which is using the chalk suede paper and distress ink and oxide ink to make cards, or you could make scrapbook pages with it. We might pivot into a little bit of that today depending on how things go. And then we're going to combine some of my other favorite products, which is Scrappy Boy stamps. So I have the Halloween Pinup Girls die, color die cut pieces, and the Halloween Pinup Girls stamps, and then also the Cute Girls Fall Leaves stamps. I thought I had the colored die cut pieces for those two, but if I do, they aren't where they're supposed to be. So we're definitely going to incorporate a little bit of this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and angle this camera down. I did a bit of a different camera setup today because I'm right-handed, and I need to, which reminds me, I need to turn my mirror. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Why is this not looking right? No, that's right. Okay. Sorry, I have spatial challenges sometimes. Because I'm right-handed and the computer and the webcam are on the right side, when I do things, sometimes my hand blocks what I'm doing from the camera angle. So I set up my phone on the edge of my desk to give the other side of the camera angle so that you can potentially see what I'm doing a little bit better. I feel like we're getting a little bit of a glare on this side. I'm not really sure where that's coming from. Let's see if I can figure out what's causing that. And let me adjust some of my lighting here. I don't know that that's any better. Hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction, and then I can, for next time, figure out what's causing it if I decide I like this camera angle. So we are going to do the deco foil first. And for this, we're just going to use a regular card base. And I don't have any black card bases. I didn't realize that until today, but I do have some orange, so I'll use an orange card base. And for this, you do need a laminator. And that was one of the pieces that I did not have. So I am going to turn the laminator on so it can heat up. And then I'm going to pick out what I want to do here. I don't think, well, which is cackle fit? Ooh, which is cackle will fit on that? Okay, I don't think we want to do that first off. I want to do something a little smaller right off the bat. I couldn't decide what I wanted, so I kind of just grabbed everything this morning. So I think we'll use, this is the Let's Get Wicked minis. This is from 2018, so I'm not really sure how I ended up with this because I haven't been a designer that long. It might have been one of the 12 Days of Christmas promotions last year, I believe, was a promotion where you got 12 transfers for like one price. So that might have been where it came from. Part of that promotion where they were getting rid of destashing older transfers that they had in stock. So the nice thing about these minis and with a card base like this is that I can use multiple. So like I can use this Hocus Pocus with the hat, or just the October 31st with the, what is that? That's a ghost. If once I learn how to do this a little more, you could actually with the candy corn, you could actually do 3 different colors of the deco foil and make it that way. So we may do that at some point. I'm not going to be that ambitious with it today. So, and I have this packet of deco foil that has silver, copper, like a brownish silver color, black, gold, and this is like a really dark silver, dark gray. And then they have some that are like reds and greens and all that holiday colors. So I'm definitely gonna buy some of that. So, you know, first one out of the gate, again, because this is really just all about technique, let's stay super simple and let's just use the Hocus Pocus transfer. I'm going to take this off the backing sheet here. And I had to re-watch the video that I got this idea from this morning to help remind me, like, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, okay. Which I'm glad I did because you actually have to dry the gel, and I don't think I would have remembered to do that without having watched the video first. So we're going to fuzz this, and I'm going to fuzz it really well because I'm putting this on paper. So 6, 8, should be about 8. I'm going to do 10, maybe 12. Should be good. And then I'm just going to put this right in the center-ish. So it looks like that. Actually, going to see. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if I can pull this camera a little closer. Okay, I can do that. Okay. I think that might be a little better. This has a little bubble in it, but it's not in the design, so it should be okay. No. Pull up the corner. Where's my... I don't know where my detail tool is. Oh, I know where it is. It's upstairs, drying. Okay. pull this up and lay it back down a little bit because it had some bubbles in it. And while we're not using any chalk or paste on this, I don't know what this transfer gel will do if it has bubbles in it. Open this and try to get some of that off the top there. Let's see, does this need to be stirred or anything? No. Okay. So we're going to just take a squeegee. Now, this dries clear, which you won't completely be able to tell because of the orange card base. Okay. I have a fan going in my room. I think it was buzzing at me. Maybe that's my laminator. Okay. So we're going to lift this up. And then you can see the design in the card. And then we're going to dry it very carefully. So as it's drying, I can see the design sort of fade. I have to hold it more into the light to actually be able to see it. So, you know, that step's probably easier on a darker card base or a piece of cardstock. Now my plan for this morning was to actually try this first before I did it on the live so that I could kind of tell you, okay, here's what I learned, so here's why we're going to do it this way. But I did not have an opportunity to do that. So we are going to learn together as per the usual. So that's a little tacky, but it's not wet. So again, we're gonna learn together. So we're going to use the black foil. If I can figure out how to open this container. Goodness. That is very nicely sealed. There does not seem to be any tape or anything around it. There we go. Okay. So this comes in 2 long sheets. We're gonna cut this down. actually, no, it comes in 4 long sheets. That's good. Just looking. Anything I might need to know. Alright, so that should cover the design without any problem. I want to make sure that I have enough to be able to peel it off when we're done, so I'm gonna just leave it like that, not trim it down anymore. And then you're gonna make a little sandwich to run it through the laminator. So you want just copy paper, but also a piece of heavy cardstock. I probably need to move the cardstock over some so that the copy paper covers the design. And part of the video that I watched earlier, you want your laminator to hot on the hottest setting, and you're going to run it through twice. So we're going to move my laminator over here. And then it's turned up on the hottest setting. I did have a green light a minute ago. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we're going to run it through once. I got this off Amazon for like 20 bucks. It was on sale. It wasn't originally priced that cheap. And we're going to run it through again. I only bought it because it was that low priced. I was like, okay, well, you know, that's not a bad price for a small, you know, desktop size laminator. And if I, you know, can do this well and make it work, it's probably worth it. So I will put a link to that in the video description. I'm sure I will find other uses for it. Actually, there have even been like day job related things that I was like, oh, I wish I had a laminator here so I could laminate this instead of having to run into the office and do it. Not like my office is that far away. It's really not. Okay, so we have that, and then you do a hot peel. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You all look at that. Look at that. Hold that closer. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Yay. Okay, we're definitely going to do that again. So the thing that I was hesitant to put more than one design on the card to begin with, just because I didn't know what I was doing. But for something like this, like I think the witch's hat would be super cute on the card, or even the spider web. What I don't know, and I'll try at some point off camera, I will put that on there and maybe try to put some cardstock over this, or parchment paper over this, and then put the deco foil and run it through, because what I don't know is if you run it through a laminator again, is it going to damage this? So we'll find that out, but I want to do another one. I want to play with another one. And I want to do the witch's cackle, and we're going to do this a little bit differently this time. So I'm going to put this back in my sheet here. So what's so interesting to me about this, and what's so exciting to me about this is, you know, you have this opportunity to use chalk products without paste or ink. We're not pasting or inking anything right now. We're just using the transfer with other other chalk with other craft products. And I like being able to really showcase the versatility of these products and what all you can do with chalk. So it's Ken's Creations. Ken did this video. If you follow him on Facebook, and you know, he talked about thinking about chalk as more than just halls and walls. And I really love that idea, that concept of what are all the different things that you can do and the different ways that you can incorporate chalk into your crafting life. And this is one of them. So if you're a card maker, you know, this is just an entirely new way of making cards. One of the things I'm also going to try, I'll record it and share the video, but the card I started last week with the ornaments, with using the paste. Let me grab that real quick. So it's this one. So today, later today, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to take this ornament and I'm going to mirror it down in this corner, offset the colors using paste. And then what I want to try to do is I'm going to overlay another ornament on top, and I'm going to do that glitter technique. So I'm going to see what that does. Yeah, I'm going to see what that does. So I'm going to do that later today, and I will share the results of that, good or bad. All right, so this is our Witch's Cackle. I love this transfer so much. It's so cute. So we're going to do this on this cardstock. And before, I'll cut it down before I put the cardstock in the laminator. Because I have an idea here. And I am actually going to cut this because I want these dots, but I don't want them on the side. I want them underneath. And to be able to do that, I need to cut it. I wasn't going to cut it, but changed my mind. So what I'm thinking about with this will work, is creating the design on this purple. Yep. And then attaching the purple to a white card base, so you have some dimension. So we're going to put this, and because I'm just going to cut this, I'm not going to worry too much about like getting it in a corner or anything like that. And I'm also going to, I'm going to get brave this time and try to use some different colors of the deco foil. So we're going to put that there. Actually, will I be able to fit all that? I'll figure it out. And we're going to put these little dots, little cauldron bubbles on the bottom here. And I'm overlapping the transfer just a little bit because I want these cauldron bubbles to be as close as possible to the design. Okay, so we're going to take the transfer gel and a squeegee. And the nice thing about this is because you want it dry, you don't necessarily have to worry terribly about how fast you're going or how slow you're going. You want this deco gel to dry before you do anything, so that's new. Everything we do, with these transfers oftentimes is so contingent upon not letting the ink or the paste or even that glitter technique, the gel, not letting that dry. And, obviously you don't necessarily want it to dry too much because you don't want to pull the paper up when you pull the transfer off. But I don't feel like this is as big of an issue. Okay, that's not going to work because that's too close and I can't get I'm going to have to do this separately. Just sticky right there. That was too close to the bottom and I didn't feel like I could really get the deco gel where I need it in this little design here. Okay, so while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you about a few things happening in August with chalk. First is the new color of the month. It is called Cozy. If you haven't seen it yet, hop over to my Facebook page or hop over to the Chalk Couture page or my chalk page and check it out. It is a shimmer copper, or not shimmer copper, it's like a shimmer rusty orange color. It is so pretty and I cannot wait to get my hand on it. Like, there were a couple of projects I was going to do this weekend that I am waiting until I get that because I want that color in like these pumpkin designs that I was going to work on. So I'm super excited about that. It's just a great color for fall and will look so good with all of the other chalk oranges, and even like I'm envisioning it with Nominee, and even with the Scout, the shimmer green that just came out. If you're doing a pumpkin and you want a stem, or if you're doing something Halloween and you want orange and green combined. So I'm going to do these. The other thing is the new Club Couture design. It is a beautiful floral, and the surface is watercolor paper, and it comes with hanging hardware. And the cool thing about this, and we've had some designs that are like this before, and I love them. The negative space is actually the background. So that's where your color is, and the design itself shows up in the white when you pull the transfer off the watercolor paper. So that's just going to look super pretty, and it comes with shimmer, harvest, and papaya. And if you see any of the promo photos or videos around that, you'll see that the design team did a little bit of a hot mess with those two colors together, and it's super pretty. Get some of this there. Okay, so we're gonna dry this real quick. A couple other August things I'm going to tell you about, but I'm not going to do that while I'm trying to dry this. So on this purple, I feel like you can see a little better, maybe not in the angle that I'm trying to show you, but you can see the design a little better and those little cauldron bubbles. So I think the trick with this too is, figuring out how much to dry it. So I'm watching the design fade some. too. And when I did this last one, you know, it was still a little tacky. It didn't actually feel wet. So I think, you know, that's going to be probably practice, maybe a little hit and miss. I know there's probably going to be some times when I try to do this and I don't let it dry enough, or I don't dry it enough. So, you know, once again, like so many other things that we do, it's just going to come with a little bit of practice. So before that gets too dry, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cut this a little bit. I'm not going to cut it all the way, but I got some of that deco foil gel outside of the design area, and I don't want any foil to stick to that when I try to put it through the laminator. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Same with this. I want to make sure that only thing that gets foiled is what I actually want to get foiled. So I know you all probably can't see it in the angle that I'm coming from here, but if you were doing this, you could see it. If you hold, especially if you hold your paper in the right place. Okay, so we're gonna do that and get these pieces out of the way. I'm gonna draw this just a bit more. Actually, no, I think that's okay. Based on what I did the last time and it working, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna do, yeah, I'm just gonna go with black for the cauldron bubbles because we have that open already. Put this down some. And cut that down some. So we're just going to put that deco foil on top of that. And then I want to be brave here. Okay, I got this out the last one. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. Just takes a little bit of effort to turn the first time. What I want to do is use different colors. So I'm going to roll this out. And there is a line in the transfer. I'm not sure if I can hold it up. I don't know if you can see it. Right between Witch's Cackle and the wording underneath, there's a little bit of like a deckled line in the design. So what I want to do is I want to cover that in one color of the deco foil, cover the top of it in one color, and then the bottom of it in the other. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to cut it this way. That's that. And then, oh, no, too much for that. Other color do I want to use? You know what? Let's just use the, no, not black. Yeah, let's just use black since I already have that open. That should cover that. So I'm just going to line it up as close as possible. There. Okay. So now I need my sandwich. Fold this a little better. I don't know that it matters, but my asymmetrical brain is bothered by it. And then I'm going to put this in here. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down a little more just so that this goes all the way in the sandwich and I don't risk any of it not being covered like it's supposed to be when I run it through the laminator. I'm also hoping, I moved my phone, my secondary camera here a little closer because last week there was just some issues with the audio. There was a lot of static and feedback at first, or not static, but feedback, a lot of static at first. And my fear was that that might have been because my camera, because that's the camera that does my audio, was so far away. So I thought I would bring it in closer and that might help with the audio. So when I listen to it, if I determine that that's not the case, we'll work on something else. So as with anything that creates scraps, I'm going to have to make a decision about how small of pieces of deco foil am I willing to keep and how much of it is functional. Because you could have a lot of fun with this technique with small designs. This would be a great way to do small details in projects. Okay, so we're going to bring my laminator back over here. The nice thing is that this thing has a little lip on the edge here that I can pick it up and the bottom doesn't get really hot. The top right here is really hot, but I can pick it up. Now, I would imagine if I let it sit for a really long time. Okay, so I have so you have your card base with the deco foil, heavy cardstock on top of it, and all of that folded in between copy paper. So we're going to run that through the laminator. While that's running through, I'm going to take a sip of water here. Okay. And I'm going to wait for my green light to come back on, and then I'm going to run it through again. And before any unveiling, I'm going to run our piece with the cauldron bubbles on it through. Okay. So I'm going to just take this out and set it off to the side for a quick second. And we're going to put this little piece in here. Now, at some point, I will probably, on a small scrap of something, maybe with some scraps of the deco foil, see what happens if I run it through the laminator just once, see what happens if I run it through at a lower heat setting, just to play around and just so I can tell people, people ask questions, well, why do you do it that way? Well, I'm doing it this way because this is what Ken showed to do on the video, but it's helpful to know, well, you should do it this way because if you do it on lower heat, this happens, or if you only run it through once, this happens. I think that's a fair for me to be able to answer those questions. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this off and move it back over out of my way. going to see what we got here. All right, so I'm going to do this first. And I'm going to peel up. Alright, so these I'm going to just peel at the same time, I think, because they're kind of touching each other. Oh my goodness, you all, oh my goodness. Ah! Ah! I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love. Look at that. I'll see that without the glare. I'm trying to get it where you can see it without glare. Maybe I'll do it on this camera. No, that's definitely not any better. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is just so cool. Ah! Okay. So I'm definitely going to have to look at, I don't know if you all watch Craft Roulette, the card show on YouTube. I have not looked at the parameters for this week's card, but I am going to have to check the parameters for this week's card and see if I can meet those parameters using this technique, because you guys, it's blowing my mind. So yeah. So then what I have in mind for this here, we're going to do is I'm going to cut this. Where are my other scissors? And, you know, this has some lines in the edging of the design, so you could do a little bit of a fussy cut to kind of match up with those and not make it perfectly straight all the way across. That would probably, you know, be fitting given the design. If I could find my paper ripper, I would actually just rip it and try to give it some rough edges there, but I can't find the little ripper, so I don't know where that went. So I am cutting a little bit off of the design above the design itself. There's some distressing that I'm cutting as I cut this, because I really just want this main design and I want to make sure that it's going to fit on this card base. And then this one, I'm just cutting a little bit to give it some, it's very, very close to the design, so I don't want to get too much into that, but okay. So we've cut that down, and I'm going to do it as a top open, and that means I need my score tape. So this is what I've been using, score tape for cards lately, scrapbooking. I've also been using it to attach choppable shapes to things when I'm doing chalk projects, as opposed to hot glue, or you can use, Elmer's actually works really well on choppable shapes, but I've been using this score tape for pretty much everything lately. And it holds like crazy. Like I have had I had one problem. And I think honestly it was because I was attaching a chalkable shape to something that I had painted, and I don't think the paint was completely dry when I attached it, and that was the reason that it came up. So I'm gonna do this, and this comes in various widths. Can't say that. Various sizes, so you can. This is the, I forget. I think this is the 1/2 inch, and then this is the 3/8 of an inch. So I have some skinny and some wider, and then you just peel the back off. Now this is very adhesive. It sticks really quickly. So you do want to be careful when you're placing something, because once that tape sticks to its surface, you are not getting it back up. Okay. So I'm going to go up a little bit because I want room for those. Cauldron bubbles. We've got that. And then you can put the cauldron bubbles on like that, or what I might actually do. Okay, what you could do, and I can do this with one of them because the score tape would be small enough, is you could fussy cut these cauldron bubbles. And then I can use a small piece of my thinner score tape and adhere them. The other thing that you could do, and in retrospect, this might actually work a little better, is then you could just wash and dry that transfer, and you could put it down here, and you could chalk or paste, or chalk or ink, paste or ink the cauldron bubbles onto the card, and that would actually look really cute. So I can put that cauldron bubble there like that, and then you could take the rest of them and fussy cut them and put them around. I do like the idea actually of chalking or inking some, because you could do kind of different colors, and then you could kind of dot them all over. The other thing that I'm wondering that might be really cute here, this wasn't my original plan for incorporating anything Scrappy Boys, but we've got this cute little, actually she's a vampire. I have a witch. I feel like there's a witch in here. My little pinup girls, yes. So we have this cute little purple and black witch that you could put on here. That's going to cover some of the design, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You could actually, bring her over here as well. Let's see, what else do we have in here that I could pull out and use? Oh, this is nice, because we've got, this says Old Salem Apothecary. So we could pop that little apothecary die cut down in there. And what we could do, just to make the die cut have a little bit more of the feel of the chalk design, is I'm going to take my small blending brush and we're going to just go over the edges of the die cut. Right? Card makers know, right? This technique gives something a little bit of a antiqued look. Could also take, maybe I could have done this first, a little bit of sandpaper and kind of roughed up the edges of this die cut. If I did it now, it would probably take the ink off. You could rough up the edges of the die again to give it more of a similar kind of look as the transfer. This off. Put that on the back. I might try to get that cauldron bubble up. angle. I wonder if I can get that off there. Because I think what I want to do is what I said. I'm going to clean that transfer, and then I'm going to go back and just chalk or ink those cauldron bubbles all along the bottom here. So there's that, and then I've got these stamps, and I've got several different sayings. What's up, witches? If you give me a treat, I'll show you a special trick. Have a wicked Halloween. You know, so I've got several different options to stamp on the inside of it. Okay. The other thing that you could do with this is you could take this design on the paper and adhere it to a painted chalk surface. So I could adhere this inside a like 5x5 box frame, where I've maybe painted the back, you know, the inside of the box frame, you know, a purple or a gold or a black or something like that. So this would really pop. Okay, I'm super excited about that. I will definitely be doing more of that, especially with holiday cards coming so pretty quick. We're going to use these again, but I'm just going to put them back in the bag to get them out of my way. So I don't make a huge mess, because the next transfer that we're going to use is a little bit bigger, so I'm going to need more space. So I'm going to roll my deco foil back up. Maybe. Not sure. Once these things come out of the container, about finishing storing them in the container. Oh, that works. Okay, that worked fine. One of my lids fell on the floor. Okay, so there's that, and oh, well, have more gold. Okay, so I'm gonna put this all just to the side, and I will clean it all up after, because I'm already 53 minutes in, and there is one more thing I want to show you all. Get all of these things out of the way. I do need my chalk slate paper under here. So in addition to the chalk suede cards, which I used a couple of weeks ago, the chalk suede actually comes in sheets. So you can get a 12 pack of 12 by 12 sheets of chalk suede paper, and you can use it as, you know, just a whole sheet. You can cut it up. You can make make your own size card bases with it. Use it as a scrapbook page. You can use it inside of a other chalk surface. You know, you can cut and adhere to chalk surfaces. You know, just lots of things that you can do with it. I'm going to leave it as the paper, as, you know, the full sheet of paper. Actually, I'm probably going to cut it in half, because I'm going to do two different things here. Actually, no, I can, yeah, okay. These will work. So these designs right here, these are so stinking cute. These just came out in the autumn release. The transfer is called Wicked Good. These actually fit our coaster sets, and also part of the autumn release was a set of black coasters so that you can, have a black coaster base and chalk on those in white and orange and purple and create a real Halloween design. So super cute. They also work really well with a 3-inch paper punch. So we are going to play around with that. I'm going to, let's see, I'm trying to look at what I have here. I have a cat on a pumpkin. I have a vampire, I have a mummy, I have a devil, a witch, and Frankenstein. Okay. So we're going to use a couple of these. And I'm going to get the pumpkin. I'm going to cut the transfer off, and then I'm going to pivot for a second because I want to do something first. I want to apply the oxide inks to the card base so that while we are applying oxide ink to the transfer, that card base is drying a little bit. So we are going to use the pumpkin, and we are going to use, actually I'm just going to use this little trick or treat on this corner here because that goes with anything. Oh, I never finished telling y'all about what's going on in August. So we talked about color of the month. We talked about Club Couture, the club design. And I believe I've mentioned before in my videos that, if you are curious about chalk, I believe Club is one of the best ways to try it out. It's $21.99 a month. You get 30% off of that if you're a Perks member, and I'll talk about something going on with Perks this month in just a second. You get everything you need for the monthly project shipped directly to you automatically. You get paste, you get the surface, you get the transfer, you get a squeegee, and that transfer can be used multiple times. So if you try it on the surface and you're like, oh, I love that, I'm going to do this on something else, you can reuse that transfer. And the paste packets that come generally are enough to do, 2 to 3 different projects. So you can, really make more than one project out of what comes to you in that monthly shipment. So, and again, this month's design is, I love them all. And they are experimenting with different, stomach's growling. They are experimenting with different types of surfaces, and those club designs are exclusive, so they are not available for retail purchase. They only go to subscribers, and then there are oftentimes specials that are only available to club members. So if that is something that you are interested in, you can post that in the comments and I can get you the information. I'll put the link in the comments as well, but if you go to chalkcouture.com/girlfridaycrafts, that's my chalk site, and there's just a link at the top that says Club Couture, and you can sign up there. Okay, I was trying to remember what I did the last time, how I did this. So we are going to mix up some colors to put on this card base. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take and chalk or ink on the transfer, and then we're going to put the transfer on the card. It's going to be really close, but those transfers will fit. I need my water. All right, so I'm going to start with the purple. And if I remember correctly what I did the last time, I'm just going to spritz the ink. And I'm going to run my acrylic block over that. Of course, I just got purple all over my fingers. And then we're just going to take this and we're just going to drag it down the card. Kind of pull it all over, spread that purple around. Right. And then I need to try and not get ink everywhere. And then we're going to do the same thing with some green. And I'm just going to use the same block because I want these colors all, you know, kind of merged together anyway. I'm just going to run that over a little bit, try to get some down at the bottom here where I've not really tapped into. Spread that around. And this is great for people like me who don't like white card bases. Like I don't know, it's just very blah for me. So I always end up putting a piece of cardstock on a white card base, or I'll use blending brushes and, you know, put ink on it first. So this is a really fun, you know, option as well. So I've got a combination too of the Distress ink and the Distress oxide. So kind of be able to see, you know, kind of what the difference is there. And I'm going to, actually I'll use this side just because I don't want to get all over my mat. I'm going to go off the edges here because I'm going to try to get a little bit of ink where I just haven't gotten some with this black. Go up in this corner and kind of down in that corner. Try to cover up that green a little bit because that green ended up a little more teal, and I don't know if that's because I combined the inks and didn't use a different block, or if that's just, I mean, that green is supposed to be a true green called Lucky Clover. So it's not exactly giving me the Halloween feel that I wanted, but that's okay. It'll be fine once we get the design on there. Okay, so I did that first because I want that to dry some. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and I'm going to put my block in some water. I have another one here. I have more somewhere else. Okay. So then we're going to take these and fuzz them. And I'm going to fuzz these a lot as well because I don't have a lot of success with chalk suede paper. Now, we're using, you know, these Tim Holtz inks and not chalk paste or chalk ink. So I don't know, you know, that probably makes a difference, at least for me. But I want to make sure I get them nice and fuzzed. The other thing that's happening in August is that there is a free gift with purchase. It is a Chalkable shape and transfer bundle. Cute, 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 cute. little etched pumpkin. That is free with every $50 that you spend. So if you spend $50, you get one. If you spend $100, you get two, so on and so forth. Now, you have to spend $75 to be able to add the color of the month to your cart. So my recommendation is if you want the bundle, spend $75 because then you get the bundle and you get the option to add in the color of the month. So that's the other thing that's happening in August. The dollar days are also still happening. So there's about 80 some odd products that are on the Chalk site on sale for $10 or less. Some cute stuff, cute transfers, cute surfaces. That stuff is selling out fast. So if you have any interest in any of that, I would definitely recommend hopping on there sooner rather than later to check that out. Okay, so we are going to do this little pumpkin. So I'm going to take my blending brush and apply this oxide. This is Distress ink. Where's my orange? I am, oh no, I'm using the orange. Sorry. Yeah, carved pumpkin is actually the name of the color, so how perfect can you get? I looked off to the side and I saw this little thing of candied apple sitting there. You all can't see that. And for a minute, thought that was what I had opened. I was like, wait, I don't want to use red. So we're going to do this. And, you know, the more you apply, the more color you'll have. And we learned that from the last time. I'm going to do the whole thing in orange, and then we're going to go back over the stem in green, just so we get a little bit of that color. Now I'm going to try and go lighter up where the stem is. And, you know, this is, I'm still really experimenting with this technique, trying to figure out how much I need to apply, how much pressure I need to use when I apply it, so that, you know, the whole design's covered, the ink goes all the way through, and, you know, we get a good image when it's done. I'm trying to make sure that it looks like all of the white part of the transfer is covered here. And then because I used my smaller blending brush, well, I didn't use it very much. Let's see if I can just rub this on a washcloth here and get the black off of that. Okay, so now we're gonna use the smaller one for the green. This will allow me to get in this area more. Now this is still a little wet from using it on the block, so I'm not really sure what that's going to do. I guess we'll find out. I didn't really think about that. I'm just going to go over this. Now it's getting a lot of good green on the transfer itself. What that's actually getting onto the design on the paper, I have no idea. Make sure I get down to the top of the pumpkin and top bottom of the stem. Get that area. Okay. I'll lift this. my detail tool is upstairs, so I don't have that to use the corner to pull up, or to use that little tip to pull up the corner of the transfer. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. That's so embarrassing. I had breakfast. You all might not even be able to hear it, but my stomach is growling. I'm trying to be careful and not pull transfer too much. I don't want to stretch it. You can rock it back and forth, which will help. Okay, that's interesting. Drop that in my water bath over there. Okay, so that's what we have there. He looks like he has a little gray hat on. Not necessarily a bad thing. And then, let's see. Oh, I have other purple, so I can use this. So this purple that I used on the background is Distress ink. It's Wilted Violet. And then I have another Distress ink that's Dusty Concord. And we can use that to do the trick or treat. And I'm just going to do this all over. I'm not going to mix colors with this. And I'm going to, I don't know honestly if that orange on that pumpkin is not as orange as I would like it to be. And I don't know if that's just because of the color or if it is that I just didn't use enough ink. So I'm trying on this one to go a little heavier. To see if I can get a nice dark purple on this design. Okay. This is cornered up. Just rock it back and forth as I pull. Try to keep from stretching it. Okay. So the funny thing is that I feel like I don't know if that ink is actually still wet from the last time I did this, or I mean it's rich ink, so maybe not, but okay, so that turned out a little bit better, and I went pretty heavy-handed with that. So real quick, mindful of time, so I'm gonna dry this a little bit. You have to be careful because the drying tool can start to warp your chalk suede paper. So when you're drying, you want to be careful my concern is that I want to put this into my hole punch and it's wet and I don't want to smear it. So we are running that risk, and I'm putting it in the punch upside down so that I can see where I'm just so afraid that's going to smear. So I can see where my lines are for this circle. Okay, there we go. I'm going to have to trim that down some. A little too far away from the bottom, so we're going to go ahead and cut this off the paper. And then I'm going to trim this at the top a little bit so that it will fit all the way into the punch. And this is actually a 3.5 inch circle. Okay, so that seems to be okay. A little close to the edge on my T's there. I'm going to turn it over so that I have some leverage. So then we have this little circle that says trick or treat, right? And then because it's purple and it goes with this background that I created, we are going to adhere it to this. I'm going to get my score tape. Find my edge here. And I'm going to lay this down really carefully. I'm going to leave a bit of a lip off the edge of my desk so I can pick it up without moving it too much, which I just did. Okay. And we are going to drop that. I'm going to put it up and over. I'm going to offset it a little bit. Now, I barely tapped on that. You can't see that. I barely, oh, never mind. I'm trying not to touch it too much. This might be one of those things that tests the strength of my score tape. We shall find out, right? Okay, so if I take this and hold it upside down, okay, that seems to be adhering all right. And then what I want to do, now this has smeared, so ideally what I would have done was to have left the circle sit, let it completely dry, right? Then punch it and put it on the card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach one of mine. Scrappy wood, and I think I'm going to, do I want to use the witch? I can use the witch because she's purple. Or we can use the vampire and have a little bit of different color. You can also add more than one. Not that I don't think the devil really goes. wonder what happens if we do both. Is it too much if we do both? Line both there. Yeah, it's too much if we do both. So I'm going to use the witch because she goes color-wise with the color scheme of the card. Drop her there. And so now we've got this. And then I have, like I said, I have multiple stamps that I can use for the inside. Now, in a discussion with some other designers around this, the question became, do you spray this to set it? Because this does take a while to dry. It was probably a week, and I bet even if I were to run my finger across the card that I used this on, that I made this way a couple of weeks ago, I would still get a little bit of the ink. So I'm leaning towards if you're going to do this as a card and put it in an envelope and stuff like that, then yeah, you might want to spray it. The Mod Podge spray or something like that. And you're going to want to let it get dry first, which might take a day or two. If you are putting this in a scrapbook, using this technique for a scrapbook page, yes, you're going to want to spray it because when you slide it down into the page protector, you might have problems. If you're doing something like this and putting it on a frame or just, attaching it to something that you're hanging on a bulletin board or something like that, spraying it may not be necessary because you may not be touching it up against something that's going to interfere with your ink. Now, this is not adhering, and I don't know if it's because I'm not pushing down on it hard enough because I don't want to, because I don't want to mess with my ink, or if it's because that background ink is wet and that score tape isn't going to stick as well. So we'll find out. I'm not going to mess with it too much right now. We'll see. Okay, but anyway, so that oxide ink makes a really cool background design, and it also makes a really cool design when you're using it on the transfers. I need to play with this a lot to get to have it look the way I kind of want it to look, but it's a good jumping off point and super fun. And then of course we had our I can't find them. They're buried underneath all my stuff over here. Oh no, they're not there. And we had our very, very, very cool deco foil cards. So, all right, pull this up a little bit so I can see you. Maybe. Here we go with my camera up. So I had a lot of fun today. Super excited about these techniques. I hope you enjoyed watching. I'll put product lists and stuff like that in the description. And I will be back with you all next Friday. So next Friday, even though today's Saturday. Yep. It will be Friday, I promise. So yeah, so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks for your time. Sorry I went a little over today. And if you have questions, make sure to leave it in the comments. If you have project ideas that you would like to see me do in a future video, please share those. And yeah, I will see you all later. Bye.